Date my wife and I spent years prioritizing swinging with other couples over spending time with our son, and it has come back to bite us in the butt. You guys were attached to the hip basically. I was actually jealous of your relationship. How messed up is that? I used to think it's nice and all how much you love each other but couldn't show me the same amount of love and attention. I used to get sick seeing you snuggle with each other like teenagers whenever we used to watch a movie together. You used to tease me about it but you had no idea how I felt inside. I responded with telling him that a romantic relationship and a parent-child relationship are completely different. He got ticked off and said, "Don't insult my intelligence." I know that. It still doesn't change that you guys cared more about each other. I've seen how much my girlfriend's parents love her. I used to get jealous. By the way, Mom, yes, my girlfriend isn't a big fan of yours. She doesn't respect you as my parents. The reason I didn't share how I felt when I was at home was because it felt humiliating. My wife started bawling in tears and started begging for forgiveness while reaching out for a hug. He rebuked and called her a WHRE. I started seeing red and I was up in his face telling him to watch his mouth. He then responds with saying, "What are you going to do, man, WHRE? I shouldn't be calling you a man. Get the F out of my house before I lose control." We're now home and my wife hasn't left the bed. I've been crying all night. My son hates my guts and I don't know what to do. I feel really numb right now. It's been 4 hours since my son invited us to talk to him again. I asked him to give us a couple of days but my wife was persistent, to say the least. Before we got in the car, we both agreed to listen to him say his piece first. When we entered, he still seemed energetic. He said a lot for me to quote. I'll just give a summary. He first apologized for the name calling. He said he deeply regrets calling us that and wishes he could take that back. He says he isn't inherently against us being swingers, even though that's something he personally doesn't have an interest in himself. He feels though it was that our swinging took precedence over spending time with him. He understood that we couldn't have our world revolve around him. He understood we needed time as a couple to keep our marriage strong. However, according to him, we checked out of the relationship we had with him at around 15. We seemed much more happy coming back from our weekend getaways and our anniversary vacation than with the family trips. The fact that we did more couples trips than family trips didn't help at all. We were practically gone every other Saturday. To him it seemed we were so happy and wrapped around each other that he sort of felt like an intruder at home. Out of fear of intruding, he never confronted us on how he felt inside. He said he felt like an accessory to our marriage, rather than a person we wanted a strong individual relationship with. It seemed like parenting was a daily chore for us. In order to deal with this, he asked us for one-on-one time with either of us so he could feel like he could get our undivided attention for once. However, we rarely could because of how many swinger activities we booked. We would tell him to do stuff with his friends instead. He figured out that we were swingers when he asked to borrow the laptop when he was 17 and we had one tab open. He sort of gave up on wanting a relationship with us at that point. He outright told us that we don't know him as an individual. To us, he's a quite introverted kid who doesn't say a lot around us. However, he is much more talkative with everyone else around. The thing that shocked us was that he pretended to be happy when we called or came to visit so that he didn't hurt our feelings. He says his love for us comes out of gratitude, not because he likes being around us or because he feels close to us. He mentioned that he talks to his girlfriend's parents significantly more than us. The main reason that he blew up at us was that we came uninvited to his place. He hated the fact that he had to pretend to actually interact with us as if we had that kind of relationship. He initially wanted to make an excuse that he had to go somewhere, but he's made that excuse multiple times whenever we invited him or asked if he could come over. So, he had to bite the bullet. After 4 hours, we finally left. He was angry and annoyed at the same time. He finally said we left the bag at his place. Not wanting an excuse to come to his place again, he dropped the bag at night. He sort of figured it out. We had one of our parties ending and it triggered him. He said what he wants from us now, unless it's for a certain occasion, don't ask him to call or visit anymore. He no longer will initiate anything from his side. He wants us to call him if there's an emergency or if we need possible financial help because he feels he owes us at least that much. Respect the fact that his girlfriend's parents will take precedence over us from now on. Meaning if they ever have kids, they would be the primary grandparents. He will deal with taking care of them when they get old before he looks at us. Don't ask for more or expect more out of our relationship. He doesn't want a motherson dance at his wedding. He doesn't want me giving a speech at his wedding. My wife couldn't handle it and asked us to leave. She was silent the entire time we drove home.